Today on The Cosmic, as we can see, we are talking about Netflix potentially purchasing Warner Brothers, how AI is being used in Mumbai, China...
You need to be closer to the mic a little bit, sorry.
Fuck's sake, yeah, I forgot about that. Can't be fun. On today's podcast, we are discussing China using AI to remodel a homosexual couple in a film, India jumping into the AI field, and best of all, Netflix potentially purchasing Warner Brothers, how that trickled down with their AI policy. Find out today on Need to Film Podcast.
Nice.
What do you think about that intro? Yeah?
That is a strong intro. We're going to probably cut it and then cut an intro out of the clips. Which topic do you want to start with? Which one was it? We're so fucking disorganized.
We are disorganized. You can tell that I've been away for a week and Mik's also taken off, so we're getting the groove back in, you know? But it's fine. Speaking of getting back in, Netflix is jumping in the bidding war apparently to buy Warner Brothers. Now, a lot of people have been talking about this, especially Hollywood, because Warner Brothers is like one of the biggest and oldest institutions in cinema. Apparently Paramount last month, Skydance's David Ellison apparently getting started to make the bid, and now Netflix is like, well, we, as always, we want a piece, so we're thinking about buying it as well. And my first thought was, if Netflix buy one of the oldest entities in cinema, Netflix has the AI policy that Mik brought up last week about how they use AI. Do you think, Mik, that Netflix would trickle their AI policy into Warner Brothers if they purchased it? And how do you think that would go?
Nice. So Netflix is one of the players. They want to buy Warner Brothers now, and buying Warner Brothers means also buying HBO, buying DC Comics. So it's a pretty substantial library of content, 100 years of content. However, what is interesting, and we can interweave this with other topic that we have, is studios are actually struggling to use AI effectively using just their own libraries. So while their libraries might seem vast, they're still not big enough to create a model that's useful in any production, right? So we know that because Runway has been working recently with a studio, with Lionsgate, and there is a leak that apparently their AI models are not good enough because they don't have enough content. And even Disney, even Netflix, like nobody has enough content to actually train a good AI that's going to be trained on just this content. Who does? YouTube. If you compare the size of Netflix library to Warner Brothers, it's a grain of sand compared to the beach that's YouTube. YouTube is millions, if not billions of hours of content, and it's a variety of content. People talking to cameras like us, it's podcasts, but it's also very good cinematic content, it's influencers, it's everything. Whereas Warner Brothers, they just have movies and some shows, right? It's just not enough. Why is it not enough? It's because they want to create a model that's just trained on their own content, not everything else plus, but no, it's just theirs. And that's just not enough. So will this usage of AI from Netflix or whoever ends up buying Warner Brothers, will this trickle down there? Yeah, of course, 100%. Every studio is going to start using AI. There's no escaping this. I see a lot. If you actually go into Reddit threads and you see this news when people discuss, oh, this studio is struggling with AI. The filmmakers go, oh yeah, I always told you this is not good enough. You always need a human. This will never replace us. At least we hope so. Like, there's such a huge amount of like, oh, please don't be good. Please, AI, don't be good. Please be terrible. Please, let's hope this just maxed out now. It hasn't, and it won't. It's just going to get better. You're just looking at select pieces of information to confirm your own hopes. And that is going to be the death of filmmaking, unfortunately. However, going back to the Netflix takeover, I don't know who is best to take over an institution like Warner Brothers, because we have Amazon that has purchased already multiple IPs. They bought MGM Studios, right? Is it good for them? Is it bad? I don't know. The new Lord of the Rings TV series is trash. I expect the new James Bond from them to also be trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, so most of this stuff, like are these takeovers actually good for the content for the studios? The good thing, the complicated thing with this takeover, if it's not Netflix, but if it is Ellison, his dad just 2 weeks ago became the richest person in the world for like 2 days because of the Oracle stock. So they were like, oh, let's just buy something else for another $40 billion. And they also are buying TikTok. So it's being signed just now that the US TikTok operations are going to be bought by Ellison. So if he controls TikTok, if he controls Warner Brothers, he already has other studios, and they have unlimited money. Oracle is very much intertwined with every major company and the government. So if they own AI and content, and it's content that's both episodic series, films, cinema,
reposting,
and also
like everything,
Imagine they can control the narrative of the whole society, because they would also, in this deal, own a couple of news stations. Right? This is not just Warner Brothers as like the
film entity.
We make films. Yeah, this is TV channels. This is, I think, Discovery as well. So this becomes a little bit dicey, and I think that's where the anti-monopoly laws could come in.
Just on that note, imagine training your model on TikTok. Yeah, that is, because YouTube's great, but TikTok, well, that has, I think, at the moment, it's peaking. Like, not peaking, but it's pretty much up there. Content is constantly going out. It's short form like Vine was. So imagine if Edison purchases TikTok and then says, I want to train a model, just like they did with Lionsgate. And he's like, well,
they actually did. There is a model from TikTok. Yeah, it's the
Hmm.
company that owns TikTok is called ByteDance. And there are models called Dream and something else, Dream. They're incredible models, very competitive. Very competitive both for image editing and video editing using AI.
Interesting.
Because they're trained on so much content. And we discussed this last week where we spoke about the lip sync. The lip sync models from the TikTok owners from ByteDance are so good because you have tons and tons of people singing the same exact songs and lip syncing them.
Wow.
So they would have the model, they would have the weights, but they would have the control of the social fabric, which is
dangerous. That's actually really dangerous.
And you can see that already happening in the US, how dangerous it is that Trump can tell a company to fire a host, like they fired Jimmy Kimmel. And even the conservatives said, well, we don't like Jimmy Kimmel, but we do not want the government to tell private news stations what to do. So everybody is fighting for control at this point. This is not about content. This is about control of the narrative.
Well, and then we're thinking back in the days when we thought Murdoch ruled the world of, media. Now he's when you actually think about it, Murdoch used to be up here, now he's like, no. And then we got David Ellison and his dad. Jesus. On the note,
it's all the technocrats.
On the note of controlling the narrative, China, there was a film featuring Dave Franco, and supposedly for the Chinese release, they controlled the narrative by changing some of the characters using AI. So in this film, there was an interaction with a gay couple, but when the film was released in China, they changed one of the characters to be a female, so it was a heterosexual relationship, not a homosexual one. So controlling the narrative with AI, again, for a regional release, a country release, different part of the world. How mad is that? Again, it's like we're controlling the narrative for each state, which means it's a remake every time if the country doesn't like the narrative or doesn't like the messaging because they don't think it aligns with their values and how they believe should be shown to their people. What's your view on that? Controlling the narrative regionally?
I think quite a few movies in the past had elements cut out of them to be released in China. Staying on the same topic, Buzz Lightyear, the movie, had some kind of a gay...
there was,
gay scene or something.
Taika Waititi's character. Yeah, Taika Waititi's character in Lightyear Was supposedly supposed to be gay. I heard.
Yeah, so they cut it out for the Chinese release, and there are like quite a few movies that have their cuts and edits just adjusted to that market. But what is crazy is that they would take something and just AI a different thread. I would imagine that because the way that the industry works, to get financing for a movie, you pre-sell the rights to different countries before you even start production. So if you know that this movie is going to go to China, I would have imagined they would just have shot a different part of it instead of AI. So something must have gone wrong, or maybe they didn't predict they would release it in China. It's interesting, but again, it saves the production millions of dollars, right? So
reshoot,
at the end of the day, this would have been done anyway. It's just been done with AI this time, and that makes it different.
We're going into dangerous territory now because we're speaking about different state-controlled edits, you know, and in a world right now where, I mean, come on, we get content everywhere, TikTok, YouTube, all of that. It just makes it interesting, the idea that we can now have the ability to change any narrative depending on the audience. I'm not sure if that sits well, you know, if that sits well with me.
It seems very 1984, to be honest.
I just watched this. It's so weird. I watched that 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, there's like a good. There are a couple of movements right now in the world. People are buying the books that are currently available on specific topics, just to preserve them, because there might be some alteration in the future. You know that the new edition is going to have some excerpts removed, right? Yeah, and that is going to happen with movies, that is going to happen with TV series, with documentaries, with actual documents. So it is very 1984, and I believe in the preservation of history and preservation of the originals as much as we can, because it's a very dangerous game, and you can already see the American government actually playing this game and telling you, do not believe in news. Do not believe in articles. Rewriting history. Rewriting what actually happens.
Don't take Tylenol, you know?
Yeah. There are so many of these, and I don't want to get political, but there are so many of these moments right now where you would have a public official, even a president, just say something multiple times in the news and try to make this the reality. And then they would discredit everything beforehand. Right, which is crazy, but this is what's happening. In 1984, one of the final things that the government did there was they ordered the people not only not to believe in the books from the past, but also do not believe the evidence of your own eyes and ears. And we are getting there. That now there's so much AI content, as we discussed on this very podcast, that you would watch a piece of content and be like, should I trust this? Is this AI or is this real? Which means that any video that you could find right now from a public official going to Epstein's Island, somebody would say, oh, I'm sorry, that's AI, that's not real, that's fake.
Oh God, imagine the danger of that. Like, here is, just say, I don't know, some irreparable evidence that some high politician is caught on video doing something completely obscene, and he goes, no, don't worry, it was AI.
Exactly. So now they're going to be able to tell you, you do not trust anything you see. Anything you watch could have been faked.
We are war with Eurasia. No, we're actually war at East Asia. You know, 1984 reference.
Yeah. And it's going to be everything from 9/11 to Charlie Kirk to everybody around this, that this is going to be changed, and they will... Like, if you watch the Charlie Kirk thing nowadays, it's like there are so many details that do not make any sense, and they just release information that keeps contradicting itself, so everybody is confused, and nobody remembers, like, what was the actual thing. Like, we'll never find out the truth, which is crazy.
Isn't it scary that being there with a camera as it happens nowadays is still no longer enough? You know?
Yeah.
That's really, really scary.
Yeah, like this camera that I spoke about before from Sony that bakes into the file, this is the original file. this hasn't been altered by AI, this is the original file. I think these files are going to be so important. Authentic content, real content is going to skyrocket in value.
Speaking of countries embracing AI, Singapore are launching a AI film studio in Mumbai. It's a company called Animeta. And we spoke about this a few weeks ago, and I want to link this together, how we talk about, you know, there are huge markets out there for anything. So when you go from the Western market, you go to the Eastern market, it's 10x. You know, we've seen this both in AI content and in social media content alone. Now, imagine giving a country like India a AI film studio where AI film is, we've had discussion, the overall costs are substantially cheaper, you know, to make a film, to make content, to make anything. Putting that in a market where it's incredibly cheap to make films in the first place, that is fucking genius. You know, it's why filmmakers go to India sometimes, because tax breaks, the cost of the crew is a pittance compared to Western. So now taking an AI film model that is cheap to put in a market that is being known for having cheap labor force and cheap workforce, what do you think that's going to do for the AI first of all, the saturation of the market of content putting out there, but also the cost, Mik? What do you think?
I think the cost of AI productions is plummeting, and it's going to go down with time. The models are getting better, the chips are getting faster, everything's just getting better. So the AI studios are going to be the future. Unfortunately, we see how much brain rot is already out there and how people actually watch it. And I would tie this with the news from Meta, literally from last night, that they announced a Vibe. What is it called? Let me just check again. It was called
Vibe, yeah.
Vibes. So Vibes is supposed to be, yeah, where they announced Vibes. And it's supposed to be a feed inside of Facebook, as I understand, or it's going to be a separate app, but it's going to be basically TikTok with fully AI produced content. And so the tools are going to be baked in. I don't know who's going to watch this. This is just to kill time, but why do people watch like low budget Netflix documentaries, just like 8 episodes about a potential murderer or rapist? Like, people watch this stuff just to kill time, so people just want to kill time, I guess. That's the idea here.
That makes no fucking sense. It's like, that's actually really annoying. Like whenever you know, you've actually had an effect on me when you told me about that time where you were on a bus and you saw a kid watching Brain Rot channel, right? That's what that is. That is a channel dedicated to brain rot. Yes, I'm sure it'll be magnificent in the creative. Like, all these weird, wonderful world, like Spielberg's Ready Player One. Everything's on the table, you know, anything can happen. But why? What are you getting out of it?
Do you know what's crazy? YouTube demonetized low effort AI channels, faceless AI channels, and all that. Do you know what YouTube announced within the last 2 weeks? When you make the shorts inside of the YouTube app, you can generate AI videos that use VO3 and all the effects. You can generate the whole thing inside of your shorts app on YouTube. And I'm like, what's the point of, hey, let's empower creators and then actually let's give them the AI tools? Like, it's so contradictory. But maybe they saw a dip in usage.
I think there's something else at play. Hear me out. It's a bit conspiracy theorist, right? YouTube demonetizes AI for YouTubers to make money, okay? Fine. Meta, YouTube, are literally saying, but now there's a channel where you can make and show your AI content to be seen. We'll put that function in the app to make it. Do you think they are just doing a training cycle? Like, let's put a place where we can get more and more content made out, more AI models trained out that, you know, first of all, is not going to cost us any money to monetize. Is, okay, costs a pittance to generate, but we are creating a space where we can have, like Disney are struggling to, like Runway is struggling to with Lionsgate, a space where we can literally have all this creative and then retrain on that, retrain on that, retrain on that. That's what I think. What's your thoughts?
I think there's something to it. I think they want to still incentivize real life creators to make money on YouTube, so we keep producing content that can be used in the training. But they themselves are going to enable anyone to create AI content that they will not pay for, which is, I think you're right. I think you're spot on with this. That the content that you will create inside of the Shorts app using AI, they don't have to pay for it because the ads are going to be going just to them. But they incentivize the real life creators to still put out more content to be used for training. Yeah, that makes sense. So I still don't know why or when people would be watching AI shorts all the time. I have seen a couple that are hilarious. We watched a couple, right? That you can make a joke, you can make a sketch, but that's not social media. So maybe actually that's good that it's a separate app, because for people that want it, they can make that conscious decision to be like, yeah, I want to see what people are creating with AI. I'll be honest, I am the biggest proponent of AI video in production.
But would you watch it on social media?
Still, there may be a handful. I could count on fingers from my two hands videos that I would say are really good storytelling, and I would watch this. Most of the AI generated content is just, it's the same as buying a new iPhone or buying a new camera. And I think actually the CEO, the founder of Runway, said the same thing. People get disappointed that they use the AI tool to create a video and they type in, a simple sentence and it's not perfect. It doesn't give them like a full cinematic movie and it's not coherent. It's a tool. If you do not know how to use that tool, it's just going to be garbage, right? Like garbage input, garbage output. So if I give you the newest iPhone or if I give you a 50K camera, if you don't know how to tell a good story, it's still going to be crap content, right? So just because everybody nowadays can buy a camera doesn't mean that everybody is a good storyteller. And it's not the tools. Like I think I can get a mid-range camera and a couple of lights and I can make a better image than somebody with a 50K camera and the best lighting, but they don't know what they're doing. Right? Because it's not about the tools, it's about the skills, it's about like the purposeful usage of what you have. And the AI tools right now, again, people are telling some stories, people are creating, everything is very samey. Like I follow the supposedly big AI creators on social, but this content just becomes very samey. Like anytime there's a release of a new video model, you can see it's the same thing. It's like a knight running against a giant with like a flaming sword. And I'm like, there's no story. Cool that you made a clip that looks cool, but nobody's going to actually watch it. We've seen this a million times now. Like, I've literally seen the same clips by the same people a million times. How many more of these do we need? That's why flashy content, just good visuals, nobody cares anymore. Like nobody cared about the visuals. Like we know that. We've been in the industry and you know that if you shoot just the most cinematic,
cool shot
epic
ever,
video, it doesn't really perform. It doesn't get the views. That's not something that gets the views, right? It's something that's like cool.
I think also I was talking about this the other day with someone, and I think it's going to make us lazy. It's going to make us for context, like when you and I left our last jobs, right? There's probably a lull period where we haven't touched the camera in a while. We both had a bit of a gap. Like that muscle gets a bit dusty, and you got to just like rinse it off. You got to keep going, and like already I'm getting there again. But I think if you were to add AI to the mix, like, and you're a filmmaker, I think you'll get lazy if you're relying on a prompt and you're just cool. Like you are putting these great visuals out, but you're still not engaging that part of your brain. You're still not firing those synapses about the creativity of being on the day with the camera. I think, if anything, and this is actually really interesting now, I think, yes, use AI content, okay, if you can use it well as a tool, but if you rely on it completely, I think your creativity will dip. I think it's like any muscle. You're not going to you're not gonna you're not gonna be excited. Come, Mik, how many times have you and I, like when we were working back together the day, like, oh, that's a really cool shot, and we've genuinely got excited about the shot. How are you and I gonna make that shot on a low budget, right? And that pushed us forward. But rather, your items go, am I excited anymore? Does that passion for filmmaking? So I think you're right in that. I think it's you can make a cooler image than you want a 50K camera, and AI content is being less appreciated. But I think we're forgetting that filmmaking itself is exciting when you learn how to get that shot, that cool shot you wanted. So that's where I'm at the moment. I wasn't a random tangent.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very valid point that you're making. And there is a study that actually supports what you're saying, but it supports it for usage of AI in any other area. So there's an MIT study that started showing that people are getting dumber and lazier when they use AI because you start relying on it to do everything for you, and you start losing the ability to write a simple email, to write an essay from scratch. I can see this in myself, that because I do so much AI coding, that nowadays I had the days that I had to really rewire my brain, because I would tell AI, do this thing. And as I'm waiting for it to do its thing, I just switch to a YouTube tab. And then I come back 2 minutes later, 5 minutes later, and I'm like, oh, it did a thing. Okay, change the thing. And then I go again to YouTube. And I'm like, I am building something, but am I really? You know, like, I'm just waiting for it to finish the job for me. Same with creating a video. You prompt the video, and then you wait for it for a couple of minutes. So, hey, let's check Twitter. Let's check Reddit. Let's check something else.
Pornhub.
This is not flow. This is not the creative flow where you're creating something and you go off of it. So maybe the limitation right now is a little bit the scarcity of the resource. So if I could, and I could do that, but I just don't want to run out of tokens at the same time. You can launch one agent on one job and then jump to another one, launch another agent on another one, and you just become an orchestrator. So it's like you're a CEO of the company. You manage the people to do their jobs, and you're 10x'd. That is wonderful. But you still should be picking up the camera. You still should pick up the camera, go out and shoot. Force yourself to turn off any AI assists, and can you still take a good photo? Can you still tell a good story? Can you still sit in front of the camera like we're doing right now? This is I find this extremely helpful, this podcast, to actually channel my thoughts. Because if I'm to like set it up for myself,
cozy, you're too cozy.
Yeah. It's like, I have the time. Oh, maybe I could do it. Maybe AI can write the whole script for me. Maybe the AI can do everything for me. It can't right now. Like, well, with my tool, it's getting really close, but it's still
nice.
Yeah. It's still not there. Like, you need to be forcing yourself. You need to get out of your comfort zone, right? Like, you need to. It's with exercising, with running, with filmmaking, with painting, with
reading,
photography.
Like,
yeah. Forcing yourself to read for an hour right now. Like, are you able right now to sit down and read a book uninterrupted for 1 hour?
Honestly, I can't. And my girlfriend bought me a book for my birthday, and I really do want to read it, but I find the time to sit down. But my attention span is just like, and I can't, and it's scary, you know.
Yeah.
And it's really worrying me. It's actually genuinely worrying me as someone who wants to write screenplays for a living and read screenplays. I've lost that ability at the moment. But yeah,
it's crazy. But I think because it was harder to create in the past, you needed to be very imaginative when you were writing a script, right? Like, you needed to like imagine the whole storyline. What is this scene going to feel like and look like? Whereas now you can just see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, now it's like kind of a waste of time, so you can see it. So it is a different muscle. And how do we not become lazy with it, right? Which is something I found interesting when I was training for a marathon in the last couple of months. And when I found that I thought that I needed music. I thought I needed an audiobook, music, something to just occupy me for, like, you know, the 20 kilometers or like 30 kilometer run. And suddenly I just discovered I paused the music for a second and I kept running. And I was like, oh, this feels actually easier. This is more interesting.
Yeah.
So then I did a 32K run without headphones in, just in London. And I was like, oh, this is so good. I had 3 hours. My mind was flowing. I was thinking about things, you know. I wasn't just jamming my brain with this, like, oh, just occupy my brain with noise. No, it was... I felt free. I was running faster. I was thinking clearer because I forced myself to not have any technology in my ears or in my eyes. And sometimes you just need that. You just need that detox.
That's what going to bed is for me. For the years and years and years, I've had these in my ears when I go to bed. I listen to an audiobook, a radio drama from the 1960s because I love that stuff. Recently, I'm struggling to fall asleep. I've been taking them out. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that my best ideas come right before bed, or like my brain just goes out. But
out of boredom, when you create space for your ideas to actually come to you, right? Like that's why kids should also embrace boredom, not just like being blasted with TV all the time.
You said something a few minutes ago that was interesting to me, like the you can now see an idea, but rather than think about it. And I'm looking at this webpage from that Singapore article we talked about, and it's one of those typical, you know, like when AI does those beautiful, mythical, futuristic shots where it's like, oh, there's a library, there's a staircase, but there's AI. I think, now it just came to my head just now, we're being shown all these predetermined styles, right? So like, you know, like when you go on it, that's going to kill creativity. You know, it's like, if you ask someone to come up with a new image in their head, we're going to latch onto a pre-existed AI style that we've been fed. And I don't think we're going to actually be original about our style anymore. And this came to my head when I was in Italy. And yes, I'm going to sound like I went to museums, but I saw a Caravaggio in Italy, a real one. And I was like, wow, that is one of my favorite artists. The story of him is amazing. But then there's a part of the section in the exhibition where we have the beautiful main Caravaggio, and you keep walking and then you see other artists who are just inspired by him, and it pretty much looked identical, right? And I'm wondering, do you think with now AI and the stylistic options we have, that people are going to struggle to come up with their own artistic style, to see things in their own way rather than using a predetermined style?
I don't necessarily agree, for the reason being that a lot of the artists in the past, they studied under someone. They always had a mentor. And whenever you look at the director, you can find the influences in their art. So Zack Snyder went to art school, and you can really see this, that when he does a slow-mo frame, it looks like a painting. David Fincher had his own style as well. And we were brought up on watching other directors and watching other films. So I do think that your style has already been shaped in some way, and you can consciously go out and try to change it. However, with AI, you can see the new styles that have never been done because they can actually be mixed and matched. But to do that, you need to be a very conscious and curious artist that's going to go, I want to explore something new. And this is something that happened both with the DSLR revolution, when everybody could create with a camera, and this is happening with AI. 99% of the people are not going to be creative. 99% of the people are not good enough to do this, right? But what this technology enables you to do is, for that small percentage of people that have always been creative, that had amazing ideas, that had the curiosity, but they never had the chance, they never had the access to resources, right? This is where AI is going to enable them. But it's going to be similar to YouTube. 99% of the content is crap.
Yeah.
And, right, like, it's just not going to break through the noise. It's the people that create not one, not two, but 100 videos for the love of the craft, because they just like making videos. And because of the sheer volume, they improve. And when they improve, they start getting viewership, right? So these are the people that usually succeed. And this is going to be the same thing with AI. a lot of the people are going to be like, oh my God, this is a hamster on a motorcycle. Oh my God, I created a knight fighting for this girl. And it's because they want a hot girl and they see themselves as a knight or a cowboy, whatever that is. They want to put it in science fiction. They live their fantasy. They spend a few dollars on creation. Great for them. Is it going to be art that's going to take over the imagination of the masses? No.
Nope.
Because you need to have a vision, you need to be curious, and you need to want to explore. It's the artists have gotten the new tool. How are you going to use this? Like Stranger Things, like the Door Brothers, I just read about them recently. They have some new deals. They want to do cinema. Stranger Things is a very strange TV show, right? Like if you think about it, you cannot really predict what that is. Severance, another show that's very strange that you don't even know where it's going to go, right? You had shows like this in the past, like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones. All of these shows had something unique, and that's how they broke out and became cultural talking points. But how many shows are there on TV that's just like run-of-the-mill, something to just spend time on, right? Yeah. Again, there's going to be the top 1% of creators, top 1% of AI creators, and these people are going to create something new. Everybody else is just going to recreate the same shit, just 100 times more of it.
I guess it depends on the size of people or markets. Yeah, huge. But no, you're right. It's giving that tool to the masses and seeing the top 1% come up and see what they have. Which we've always agreed with that. The digital revolution of filmmaking. We got to allow more filmmakers to be seen. On that idea of giving tools to a bigger market, the biggest market you mentioned was China and Kling. What do you want to talk about that? You mentioned to me something briefly.
Yeah, the Kling was showing off their new model 2.5 at an actual film festival in Busan. And I see China embracing these models more freely because they don't care about copyright that much. So that's why Chinese models are usually ahead of the curve, because they just train on unregulated stuff. And what you're going to do, sue them in China?
Everything!
Yeah, literally everything. Like, because there are no consequences. There are no consequences to these models. And there might be a consequence for you using that specific model to create your stuff within the EU. That's why a lot of the models are delayed in their release in the EU. But ultimately, you cannot ever prove this. You cannot prove that unless you're using AI in a way where you say, oh, create me a shot of Superman fighting Batman. Well, that's problematic. But if I create a shot of a man and a woman in the kitchen with a brown dog, this is going to be a completely new image that has never been seen before, so there's no way to trace it to anything. It's just the pixels are all new, so this is not going to work. But going back to it, China is embracing this a lot. And now you see more and more of film festivals, which means, Dimi, that you were just too early with your genius. You were too early with your genius of using AI for your short film, and you got rejected from so many festivals because you used AI.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Had you done this film 2 years later, a lot of the festivals are embracing AI nowadays because they know that it's inevitable future.
Yeah. Oh, it's premature.
You're ahead of this. You're a genius ahead of his time, you know.
It's I'm going to clip farm this just to have and listen to it at night in my ears over and over again while you sleep. But no, it's funny how the narrative changed. Like the amount of emails that I got through. Like I was spending £70-80 a time. This isn't aligned with our values. We don't believe that this is animated artwork because I didn't reference it in the credit. Because I didn't reference it in the credits at all. Not that I didn't use AI, but the fact that I didn't use animators. So they went through and was like, we don't see animators in your credits, so they make the assumption. Okay, maybe I re-release that film then and just claim I shot it last year. But
I didn't say your film was good, just for the record.
You funded it. Every time you make this joke, you gave me £100 and I gave you a headset. Wait, did I ever give you a headset?
How many people... Oh, you didn't give me a headset. That's true. Do you know how many films are funded and then they fail?
Oh,
critically?
Yeah, we know.
and
Yes, we know
in
this.
box office?
Yeah.
Same as like Jeffrey Katzenberg with Quibi. They created a platform that was supposed to be vertical. You know, like a couple of years ago, they released a big platform. It was supposed to be Netflix for vertical content.
Yes. God, that really disappeared.
Yeah, and a lot of people, it was like, they invested $1.5 billion, I think, into this. And they had big creators. They had shows that were supposed to be released in it. A lot of creators afterwards have discussed that they shot something that was never released. It was supposed to be on Quibi. That is because they released it during COVID when everybody was stuck at home, so they had access to actually watching stuff back on TV. It wasn't watching stuff on the tube. But nowadays, if they released Quibi today and it was backed by AI, it would have had a better chance of actually succeeding. So you see, it's about being there at the right moment, at the right time, with the right idea, right? Like they were just too early. And, you know, we both know what it means to be too early.
I have no idea what about. Hey, happens to 1 in 5 men, all right? We covered a lot today. That went all the way from America to China to India, back to China, and now back to the end of this podcast. Next week, we'll find out more AI film news. I think there's something going on in the world of film and TV next week. I'm hearing something about Bella Ramsey, the voice of AI in a new film. Something I'm hearing rumors of, but we shall see. Tune in for next week. We're going to end this podcast because Mik has the bladder of his child. So good night.
No,
farewell.
I have a bladder of a 6-year-old man, and I had it for a while. I don't know what that is. Maybe I should get checked out. Or I can just ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, there you go. There's a future. On that note, see you next week.